Say the name of, if you're introducing your friend to the president, you say, President Schwaller, I'd like you to meet my friend Andrew. Andrew's a business major just like I am. Then when you introduce and give a little bit of information, you can start a conversation, okay? Because you're going to be standing around in groups, and they're going to wonder what you're majoring in, where what your dreams are, what business you're thinking about going into, and so forth and so on. So when if you know that, or when you introduce yourself, like you did, that was very nice. You told me who you were and what your major was, okay? So just think about it. It makes people feel more comfortable, and then you can start having a conversation. Any questions on introductions? Very important, okay? And it is important to have a nice, firm handshake. So it's very important when you're meeting someone for the first time and you're shaking their hand to look directly into their eyes, to say, hello, it's great to meet you. I'm Diana Fisher, and you are? Soya. Okay, you're making that first connection. You haven't known that person before. You're shaking the hand. You're getting that good eye contact and a nice, firm handshake. You remember that. And you probably can think of handshakes, right, that you've had with people. But introductions and handshaking and just meeting someone, that first contact that you have with someone, is very important. Okay, any questions about that? Okay. So when you go into the reception today, you're going to be talking about different topics. I'm sure that the people are going to be asking you what you're studying and where you plan to go. So you should, obviously, if you're going for a real interview, you want to know a lot about that company. So you need to have done your research, you need to have gone online, you need to have read whatever information that you can about that company so that you're very, very smart about the company. And you want to have a whole list of questions that you want to ask also, because people in interview situations want to make sure that you're real savvy about it. A business card is important. Do any people have business cards? Do you all have business cards? No? No? Why would a business card, do you think, be important? Right, face with a name. Then they leave and they've met 32 people, say. They maybe have 5 business cards. You know? That's important. So I would say you can make up your own business card. And you can carry a business card. So you could put it in your pocket. And if you needed to, then you could say once you had a conversation with someone and they are interested in having your contact information, you could just say, I have my business card right here. I'd be happy to give it to you. You don't want to be at a reception just forcing people to take your business cards, just handing them out. You have to be a little bit savvy about how you're going to approach people with your business card. But if it seems appropriate and the person's interested in you, then you could just offer it. Okay, any questions about business cards? Now you're going to be in a social setting tonight. Some will be business, some will be just social. So before you go for an interview, or even before tonight, hopefully you have some idea what's going on in the world today, because people may be talking about current events. And so just read a newspaper, listen to the news. How many of you read the newspaper today? Anybody? Headlines? Good. Okay. Get in the habit of doing that, because in social settings you have to talk about something. What are good topics to talk about? What? I'm sorry?
Swine flu.
Swine flu, yes, that could be talked about, like we just mentioned it, yes, because it's a worry, obviously, and that's safe. I mean, it's, you know, what topics might you not talk about?
The economy?
Well, I know, that's depressing, isn't it? It's okay to talk about the economy if you don't get too political about it. Okay, you have to watch out for politics, obviously. So you can work around the political angle of it by just kind of dealing with facts. But you don't want to rant and rave about, you know, the political part of it. Okay, so that's always a no-no, not to talk about politics. Obviously, you don't want to talk about sex in social setting. And religion is sometimes a little bit touchy, so you want to stay away from religion. Gossip is not a good idea. You don't want to be gossiping about people. You always want to be positive. You know, people are talking to you. You want to have a positive outlook. You want to be, you know, trying to project yourself as being very positive. I wanted to mention, while we're on the information part, The internet, Facebook. How many of you are on Facebook? Everybody's on Facebook, okay. Twitter, all that, okay. So you have to be very careful about what you put on your Facebook page, and hopefully you are. Because wherever you probably apply for a job, they're going to Google you, and they're going to look at your Facebook page. Okay? There was a young woman, education major, I've forgotten the college, I think it was in Virginia. She put some pictures on her Facebook page a year or two ago, and it showed her partying. It was in October, I believe, when the college saw those, and when
How many of you have Facebook accounts? I think I saw an awful lot of hands that were raised earlier on. How many of you have? Just show of hands. Almost all of you, right? Yeah? Now, Diana was being very polite earlier on in terms of what she was communicating about your Facebook accounts. If you folks have Facebook accounts, make sure that they are private, and make sure that all of your friends are also don't have pictures of you, don't have derogatory comments about you, etc., because it will be found. I kid you not. Before a recruiter is allowed to give your name forward into the organization, you will have had already an exhaustive internet search of your name based on your past affiliations, whether it be academic, whether it be places where you have worked, etc. So you will have already provided enough information to get at certain pieces of information about you as an individual, and that could very seriously knock you out from some very good jobs. Okay? Facebook's a great social networking tool. Twitter's a great social networking tool. MySpace is a great social networking tool. But I would suggest you be very, very careful about what's in them, what you post, how you post it, pictures you post, and the same thing for those whom you may choose to be your friends on Facebook. Because your friends could, in fact, post something on Facebook that you think is funny, or they think is funny, and it might not be so funny to someone who's looking to hire you. Because as John has already rightly said, you are representing eventually that organization when you get hired, or before you potentially get hired. They're thinking about how you're going to represent their organization. And they don't want people that are, quite frankly, goofing off in pictures and underage drinking and those types of things. It has a demonstration of character for most employers that they frown upon. What happens if that happens to me? We usually interview in teams of 4 or 5. So when you come into our organization, you'll go through 4 or 5 people, maybe as little as 3. But what we do is any individual has the right to stop the interview process. Okay? So if somebody responds that way, they don't have any questions, we've got like 20 minutes left in the assigned time because we've allowed for questions to be asked. That's how we operate. That's how we do it. Okay? No? Nothing further? Okay? We're going to conclude this interview process and we show them to the door. Okay?
That's true life.
It's just true life. Because the point that's being made here is that it's extremely important to have an understanding of the organization and to know what questions you need to have answered in order to be able to be an effective employee within that organization. No one can walk into an organization and say, geez, I just need a job, right? You're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. If you're not asking effective questions, if you're not asking pertinent information about the performance of the job, what's expected of the job, what team will I be working with, what does the first 6 months look like, where do you anticipate I would be in a year? I mean, there's just a whole myriad of questions that you can ask, right, that you don't even need to have a tremendous amount of knowledge about the organization, right?
Right, absolutely.
I mean,